any comment on what RPG elements are? Yeah, so the RPG elements sort of bucket or Confluence page that we've been dumping that stuff in are really linked to some of the constraints and sort of new ideas that we've been saying, like we want to build on a foundation that's relatively known so that you can look at it and go, okay, I understand. I look at this game, it looks familiar to me. Cool. Then when we have that, we can always fall back to it. But there's certain things that we want to try with regards to like limitations on the number of, okay, see you, bunny. Limitation on the number of bags that you can carry. So constraining inventories space, really being disciplined with weight and the impact of weight on the character. You know, reevaluating and sort of looking at food and drink, how that impacts things. So some of the notes out here, like transportability, stackable versus single item weight, duration of satiation, additional effect, really going through and looking at reagents and their impact and like prevalence in the game. Inventory space bags, I mentioned that. And then as we start to put those constraints in, look at ways of mitigating that. Like Nick had an idea for stash boxes and stuff. There's some work we want to do with inns and stables, and not only like the functionality that's associated there, but also like proximity, where we place those in the world. A lot of ideas and notes related to item and item identification is just like one little tiny bullet there, but a lot of just different stuff we can play around with. Items itemization, clickies, and item recharging, and yeah, there's just basically it's a grab bag of interesting stuff that we wanted to play around with and have that sort of be a certain basis for gameplay. The text-based stuff that we've been implementing a few months ago still exists. We want to expand on that, and so have a lot more interaction, but that system's already in. We just don't really show it much. There'll be some additional stuff with NPC interaction that I'm sure will come up as well. So it's basically just allocating time for us to play around with some different quirky ideas.